Ever since I posted that video of the full moon that went viral, people have been asking me to show them how I edit the full moon. Well, let me show you. To edit the moon the way that I did, you will need two different exposures, a well exposed shot and a completely overexposed shot. We will use the overexposed shot to create the glowing ring around the moon and the radiant light behind it. For the first part, we will do our basic Lightroom adjustments and color grading. Here are the settings that I've used. Use these settings for all three exposures. For the second part, the most interesting part, we will open all three pictures in Photoshop and stack them on top of each other. But before you do that, crop all of them in a way that makes it easier for you to stack them in Photoshop and make sure that the moon is centered correctly. Then we will select all three pictures and we will open them in Photoshop as layers. This is very important because this will open all three pictures as three different layers into one Photoshop document. First, I will rename all three layers just so I know where each layer should be. The top one should be the well exposed shot, and the middle one should be the overexposed shot, and the bottom one should be the radiant light. Now we will use the object selection tool to select the moon on the first layer, and then we will create a layer mask out of that. Next, we will hide the top layer and select the middle one. And then we will go to the toolbar and select the ellipse tool. Now we will create a circle and press shift while we are creating the circle just so it can create a perfect circle. And we will move it to the center of the moon, and then we will adjust the size. Depends on how thick that we want the ring light to be on the moon, and then press enter. Now make sure that you select the ellipse layer and deselect the all of the other layers to make it like easier to select the circle. And we are going to use the object selection tool once again, and we are going to select the ellipse. And then we are going to select the middle layer and we can just click on delete. So this is going to delete the inner of the circle of the moon on the middle layer, as you can see here. Now we are going to deselect the ellipse and we are going to increase the size of it. Make sure that you hold Option on Mac and Alt on Windows to keep the circle perfectly rounded. Increase the size just a little bit. And now we are going to use the object selection tool once again. Make sure that you hide the middle layer and select the circle. And now select the middle layer. We are going to invert the selection this time just to make sure that we select the outside of the middle layer right now. And we are going to click delete and we should be left with just a ring of light. Now, as you can see, we already have like the moon almost the way that we want it. The only issue is that the edges are kind of like very rough right now. So we need to make them smoother and make the moon blend with the light behind it perfectly. To do that, we are going to select the top layer and select, select and mask here. Now let's increase the feather. As you can see, it's making the edges like very smooth, but the light is bleeding like from the inner part of the moon to the outer part, but we want it like to be the inverse. So we're going to shift the edges so the light can bleed to the inner part of it. As you can see, it's blending like really well, making it feel like the ring of light is shining over the moon. Then we're going to increase the smoothness a bit. Let's just make it 50. Just want it to be very smooth. As you can see, the moon looks much better now with the edges blending like well with the wing of light. But the wing of light is much thicker than I like it. I'm going to select the bottom layer and Command T on Mac, Control T on Windows to transform it. So I'm going to decrease the size of it a bit. Make sure that you hold Option or Alt to keep everything like similar. Yeah, I think that should be fine. And you can use the arrows also to move it like a bit. And that's it. So if you zoom in, so the edges should be like pretty fine, blending well with the light. So these were the techniques that I used to edit the full moon. I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. And if there is any Photoshop guru here, let us know in the comments if there were any better ways that we could do any of these. Thanks for watching, guys.